I'm Andrea Thorne, and this is PS 209 Week 5 video assignment. My topic is on the actors and causes associated with the terrorist attack on the Istanbul airport in relation to the intelligence cycle. First, what is the intelligence cycle? It is the process of developing raw information into finished intelligence for policymakers to use in decision making and action. There are 5 steps. The first step, planning and direction. This is the management of the entire effort, from identifying the need for data to delivering an intelligence product to a consumer. Step 2 is the collection process, gathering of the raw information needed to produce finished intelligence. There are many sources of information, including open sources, foreign broadcasts, newspapers, periodicals, and books. There are also secret sources of information. And finally, the technical collection, which is electronics, satellite photography, monitoring arms, controlled agreements, and providing direct support to military forces. Step 3, processing. Converting the vast amounts of information collected to form a usable by analysts through decryption, language translations, and data reduction. Step 4, source analysis and production. Conversion of basic information into finished intelligence. It includes integrating, evaluating, and analyzing all available data. Step 5, dissemination. The last step, which logically feeds into the first, is the distribution of the finished intelligence to the consumer, the same policymakers whose needs initiated the intelligence requirement. Which intelligence or law enforcement agencies were involved in the Istanbul airport attack? It's clear the Turkish intelligence agency, along with the Jandarma, were involved right from the start. Reports have also been stated that world leaders joined together after the fact to state plans and prepare for further attacks involving ISIS. One key member that was recognized was Michael McCall, who is from Homeland Security. This shows steps 1 and 2 on the intelligence cycle. Step 1 of planning and direction, because the agencies came together to plan and prevent further attacks. And step 2, the collection, which shows the collection of evidence from Turkish intelligence as well as other information regarding the situation. What are some of the initial security considerations that should drive from the overall analysis? Obviously, the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Out of all these main topics, the one that I felt was the most important regarding the situation was the how. How did the attackers get past airport security? This is the number one question. What's particularly unnerving about this latest incident is the regional aviation hub had a much tighter security system in place than many other airports. Travelers using the airport are required to undergo double security screenings, one before they enter the international terminal building and a second time after they go through passport control. There's heavy security at the entrance to the international departure halls. There's a full screening process and an X-ray machine you have to go to through a metal detector. But in the arrival halls, of course, you don't have the same level of security, so the attackers were believed to arrive through the arrival halls. Was there anything else that could have been done to prevent this? I don't think so, because there's not a 100% way to prevent these terrorist attacks, because there's so many of them that we don't know exactly where they're going to attack next. But it was stated that it was believed Turkish officials had been warned before this attack and didn't really take steps to heighten their security. In the future, what we should do is maybe have tighter airport security, go through harder task to get passports, make the traveling laws a little bit harder. All this in regards to the intelligence cycle is, this to me falls under step 3, the processing, and step 4, source analysis and production. Information is being processed and then used to analyze the situation. To what degree is the intelligence process impacted by the need for cross-agency for international cooperation? Obviously, there is probably conflict regarding all the countries that were involved. Everybody wants to handle the situation, and nobody really wants to give control to the other country to figure out what's going to be done. What are some of the key types of information that should be sought after? I stated that already previously. The who, what, when, where, and how is the main information that we need to be looking at. What are some of the initial hurdles or obstacles associated with assessing your case? I found the hardest part was the validity of the information that I gathered. I could not 100% know if what I was reading was correct, and that I feel like is a big challenge for the Intelligence Committee when they are doing their collection of information, if they know if it's 100% or not. How useful do you believe OSINT could be for your case? OSINT is open source intelligence, and I felt that was very useful. That was all the intelligence that I used that I gathered from the internet, from articles, from newspapers. Obviously, I didn't have a way to get into any secret files or anything like that to look up secret documents. I felt that this was in relation to step 4, source analysis and production. Let's see, as far as processing, what types of intelligence would you expect to be most important in your case? And I felt that the most important intelligence in this case would be concrete human and technological information. This would go back to step 2 for the collecting process. What sort of factor is the issue of time in the overall use of intelligence cycle? As far as time, I felt it's essential to get the information right away, to get the bodies evacuated, and I felt like they did not really give much time to that. They only spent 5 hours. And then also in regards to time, when dealing with details, if you're doing up collection or reporting, you want to make sure that nothing is outdated when doing a report. What sort of bias might exist that would affect the objective processing intelligence? As far as bias, obviously, when you hear of an attack, you don't want to initially assume that it's a terrorist attack or ISIS or whoever, because then I feel like you're just going to have tunnel vision and only look at one possible outcome and not be open-minded to other further outcomes. What sort of intelligent products do you believe will be primary output of intelligence cycle in your particular case? That would be the production of information. Let's see, it would be given out through warnings, videos, news productions, etc. How might overlapping or integrated intelligence products be developed within your particular case? Let's see. That would just be an example of reports coming from multiple agencies. The primary consumer would be the Turkish president, the Turkish prime minister, the U.S. president, national security advisors, and our intelligence agencies. What sort of issues impact the quick and efficient dissemination of intelligence products to the appropriate consumers? Time and lack of information. For the overall goal of intelligence is to provide as much information as possible for the decision making. After the information is collected, analyzed, evaluated, and dispersed, next will be planning for prevention. What would be long-term goals of analysis of this case? Long-term goals would obviously be to prevent any other attack from happening. How important are those goals to the application of intelligence cycle for my specific case? The intelligence cycle gives us an idea of what to follow and what actions to take during such a tragedy. Plan, collect, process, analyze, and disseminate. And lastly, as a conclusion, we have to ensure that we report suspicious activity as soon as we can, even if something doesn't seem right. If something does not seem right, it probably isn't. So we just have to follow all these steps and make sure that we use the right agencies and collection processes, and we just need to make sure that we are able to prevent this from happening, or at least trying to minimize it as much as possible. Thank you.